Welcome to the beginning of part 2 of the Airbrush tutor series called Getting Real. Today we're going to start learning about how to create the little parts of an artwork that bring it to life. Textures. It's the difference between someone looking at your picture and going, "Oh, that's nice," or "Oh, oh, how did you do that? Is it real? Can I touch it?" So what we're going to be doing is exactly the same action on the airbrush as what we would use to create a dot. However, we're only pulling back very slightly for paint. And what I want to do with this texture is show you why it's cleverly called the figure 8 texture. This is the action that we're doing. So on a smaller scale and pulling back less for paint, it starts to create a pretty interesting effect. Now let's see what happens when we go over the first 2/3 using exactly the same action. That's the figure 8 texture. There's one variation to the figure 8 texture, and it's what we're going to call the lateral texture. It's basically the figure 8 texture moving in a direction to give it some sort of movement. The lateral texture is a very similar texture to the figure 8 texture. We're repeating exactly the same motion, but we're adding some little sideways strokes to it as well. And perhaps holding it at a slight angle, also in the direction that you want the texture to go. So where would these things be used? We can see that the figure 8 texture is very apparent in this area of the eye, or actually all over it. Except it seems that there's a lot of direction also in many textures in the eye, such as up here. We can see that it's moving to the left, or under the eye. It appears as though the texture is coming from the left to the right. That's where these textures will be used. Concentrate on what height you're doing them at, concentrate on what sort of opacity you're doing them at, and try to get as even textures as possible. This looks easy, but trust me, it takes a little practice. So how can we take this one step further? Why don't we try doing one of our blends that we learnt in the part 1 tutorials, and then try to blend our texture out from this to create photorealism.
And there's no stopping us right now. I feel so close to you right now.
If you're struggling to blend your textures out cleanly, then practice doing the most basic form of this texture. At what Photoshop would consider 100% opacity, simply pull back and just cover an area with this figure 8 texture. Build it up slowly. This texture I've just created here would be the same intensity as this type of dot. So why don't you try doing the same texture at the same intensity as this dot? It just means that you have to pull back less on the trigger and just use a faster movement. This is just the beginning. There are thousands of textures you can create with an airbrush, but this is easily the most commonly used and the most important. And don't forget to visit the Airbrush Tutor website, where you can download your free PDF files in order to help you along with these tutorials. This is the most commonly used of all the airbrush textures. If you want your artworks to pop, then you need to master how to do this texture. So keep practicing and spread the love. See you guys.